Today we are going to be doing a math lesson through videos, and it's going to be one of those things where you need to take the time to listen and walk through the lesson with me and have the self-control and the strive for excellence that you do what you need to do to figure them out. So this first one I'm going to walk you completely through, and you just kind of watch my process and pay attention, and then you will be doing 4 of them on your own. So the first thing I always want to do is read the problem completely. So we have a school librarian, Mr. Marker, knows the library has 1,400 books, but wants to reorganize how the books are displayed on the shelves. Mr. Marker needs to know how many fiction, nonfiction, and resource books are in the library. He knows that the library has 4 times as many fiction books as resource books and half as many nonfiction books as fiction books. If these are the only types of books in the library, how many of each type of book are in the library? So again, I'm going to kind of go back and think about the important information. I know that there are 1,400 books. That's my total. I know the parts that I have are fiction, nonfiction, and resource books. And then I know there are 4 times as many fiction as resource. So I know there is more fiction, there is less resource, and then half as many nonfiction as fiction. So then I know there are the most is going to be fiction, and then nonfiction is going to be somewhere. I can't tell yet if resource is going to be the least or the nonfiction, so I'm going to do that as I draw it. So 4 times as many fiction books as resource. So let's just pretend that this is resource. Then that means that 4 times as many fiction, that means I would have 4 R's here. Oops. And then half as many nonfiction books as fiction. Well, since there's 4 groups of R up here, half of this would be nonfiction. So that would be the 2 groups of R. Then I know this 1,400 has to come in somewhere, so I'm thinking that this whole total has to equal 1,400, not 14,000. So as soon as I hear that equals, I know that this is my equation. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 R's is equal to 1,400. So 7 groups of R equals 1,400. So I can take that 1,400, and with my picture, I know that I need to divide and split it out between these 7 groups here. So I can tell I need to divide by 7, divide by 7. So I get 1 R over here, and this one I know I get 200. So then R equals 200. So then I want to make sure if this is 200, that would be 200, 400, 600, 800. So that equals 800 total. This would equal 200. This would equal 400. Then I want to make sure that all of those together equal my 1,400. 800 plus 200 is 1,000. 1,000 plus 400 is my 1,400. Then I need to recheck what the question is. So it says, if these are the only types of books in the library, how many of each type of book are in the library? So for my answer, I would need to say, there are 800 fiction, 200 resource, and 400 nonfiction. So now that I have so many tools in my belt, I do kind of a hybrid of the visual to kind of help me figure out what I'm doing, and I also want to start really seeing the equation and using this process as well. Since I had to multiply by R here, I need to do the inverse operation, which is divide to get R by itself. I also saw that in my picture because here's my total 1,400. I knew I need to split it evenly into these boxes. If I'm splitting something evenly, that means I'm dividing. So now that we have done this one together, you're going to go get the classwork page from the circle table at the front or wherever your teacher has put that, and you are going to complete these problems here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So as you do them, you can push pause and do them on your own and then check back to see if they are correct or not. If you need to do it along with me, then you can go ahead and push play and do them along with me, or you could fast forward to where I gave the answer to see if your picture matched up to mine. So I'm going to start with number 1. If you're doing it along with me, read the directions, solve each problem below using tape diagrams and algebraic methods, then check your answers with the word problems. So the first step I always want to do is read the problem completely. Indiana Ridge Middle School wanted to add a new school sport, so they surveyed the students to determine which sport is most popular. Students were able to choose among soccer, football, lacrosse, or swimming. The same number of students chose lacrosse and swimming. The number of students who chose soccer was double the number of students who chose lacrosse. The number of students who chose football was triple the number of students who chose swimming. If 434 students completed the survey, how many students chose each sport? So another strategy I want to remind you of is writing that answer statement to kind of really determine that importance, and we know what we have to answer. So we have to say how many chose each sport. So blank, we could say these students chose, and then we could say blank chose soccer, blank chose football, blank chose lacrosse, and blank chose swimming. So we know we have to come up with the numbers for each of these sports. So now let's go back into our problem and find where it talks about the information. So we know that there were 434 total students. We know that the same number of students chose lacrosse and swimming. The number of students who chose soccer was double the number of students who chose lacrosse. And the number of students who chose football was triple the number of students who chose swimming. All right, so let's look at this then. Let's just start with lacrosse. So if this is lacrosse, we'll just call that L. Then swimming is going to be the same as lacrosse. Remember, the fewer variables that we deal with, the better. So we know those are the same. So we took care of that one. The number of students who chose soccer was double the number of students who chose lacrosse. So soccer, double, means 2. So how many would we draw for that? That would be 2 L's. And then the number who chose football was triple the number who chose swimming. Well, remember, swimming and lacrosse are the same. So how do we show triple for football? And I'm going to add mine up here. Triple means there are 3 of them. So here are all our parts. What is our total? What are we trying to figure out? Well, all of this together equals 434. So that's our equation right there. We would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 L's that equal 434. So I need to take 7 groups of L and make it equal 434. Or I need to take this 434 and split it evenly between all of these pieces here. So as soon as I hear myself say split, I know that I need to divide. So I'm going to take 434 and divide it by 7. And 434 divide by 7. 7L divided by 7 to keep it the same on both sides. Again, notice that this is a multiplication, so to do the inverse is division. 7L's divided into 7 would be 1L. 434 divided by 7. I don't know that off my head, so I'm going to use my workspace. Famous fractions fall to divide. 434 divided into 7 looks like this. So, how many groups of 7 can I make out of 4? 0. How many groups of 7 can I make out of 42? 6. So here's one left over. Bring down the 4. How many groups of 7 can I make out of 14? 2. 2 times 7 is 14. So 1L would equal 62. So that tells me that L is the same as 62. So now I'm going to plug them back in here and see if this makes sense. So swimming and lacrosse are the same, 62 and 62. Soccer was double lacrosse, and if this is 62 and 62, that equals 124. That is double 62. And then football was triple swimming. So that's, I'm going to do my work page up here. 3 groups of 62, that's 6, 186. Now I need to check to make sure that they all equal 434. So again, use my workspace, 186 plus 62. That's 248 plus 62 more. Then 124 more. I got that from right here. So that's 434, which checks out to here. I can also plug it back into my original problem here and do 62 times 7 as my check. 7 times 6, 4, carry the 1. 7 times 6 is 42 plus 1 more, 434. That's what I'm supposed to get, so check. So I'm feeling pretty confident, so now I just have to fill in my answers. How many chose soccer? 124. How many chose football? 180. Lacrosse? 62. Swimming? 62. Make sure you answer all parts of those questions. So now see if you can do number 2 on your own, and when you're finished with it, check in with video 2 to see if you're on the right track, or if you get stuck and you need to do it all the way along with me, go ahead and go to video 2.